Welcome back to Movie Recaps. Today we're covering the sci-fi horror film Splice. Spoilers ahead. Two brilliant researchers, Clive Nicolai and Elsa Cast, lead gene splicing projects at a biotech giant called Newstead. Their lab stitches together DNA from different animals to grow new organisms that can produce valuable medical compounds. After a string of failures, the pair finally succeeds, creating two unsettling hybrids they proudly nickname Fred and Ginger. Newstead intends to farm their proteins for livestock medicine. But to Clive and Elsa, this feels like only the starting line. They argue the same breakthrough might one day help humans, opening doors to treatments no one thought possible. In hushed conversations, they dream about cures for brutal illnesses like Alzheimer's and Parkinson's, if the tech is handled right. But when they pitch a human-adjacent trial, their bosses, Joan Charot and William Barlow, slam on the brakes immediately. Management fears a PR disaster if rumors of human splicing leak, and they forbid the team from taking that next step. Instead of stopping, Elsa pushes to keep going quietly, and Clive, uneasy but intrigued, agrees to work off the books. After a few botched attempts, they finally generate a viable human-animal embryo unlike anything they've grown before. Clive wants to cut the power, but Elsa argues they'll terminate before full term. No one will know, and the data could change medicine. He triggers the system anyway, starting the growth sequence that will test both their ethics and their relationship. Elsa hovers over the incubator, monitoring vital signs. The heartbeat drops to silence, then kicks back in and steadies. The fetus accelerates far faster than models predicted, rewriting their timelines and pushing them into constant triage mode. One long night, alarms blare. The organism forces a premature delivery months ahead of plan, and panic floods the room. They scramble to halt the chamber and reset the cycle, but the fail-safes don't hold. The hybrid bursts into the world anyway. In the struggle, Elsa is slashed by a toxin-tipped appendage. She convulses as Clive grabs meds and counters the poisoning. The crisis passes, but they're rattled. Clive insists they end this now, while Elsa argues the unexpected data is priceless. When they return to finish the job, the shell looks like a heap of dead tissue, until they realize the body itself is missing. Footsteps skitter across the floor. A small, twitchy creature darts into view, locking eyes with Elsa like a newborn seeing its mother. They sedate the hybrid and begin controlled tests, quickly learning it can secrete venom despite no predatory genes in the recipe. Each day reveals another curveball. The thing is aging at a runaway pace, a byproduct of design choices they barely understand. Away from the lab, Barlow corners Clive. If Fred and Ginger's proteins don't sell, Newstead tanks, and the blame lands on them. Weeks pass. The hybrid grows large and coordinated, responding with the curiosity and mischief of a human toddler. Elsa bonds with the creature, talking to it, teaching it, and treating it more like a child than a specimen to Clive's concern. She even removes the cap from its tail spike to let it move freely, trusting the bond more than the protocols on paper. One afternoon, the hybrid notices the word on Elsa's shirt and rearranges toys to spell N-E-R-D. Elsa flips it and names her Dren. The name sticks. So does Elsa's maternal streak, which only deepens the fault line forming between her and Clive. Meanwhile, the lab is scheduled for renovation, raising the chance someone stumbles onto their off-limits project. Gavin, a colleague and friend, sneaks in mid-argument, catches a glimpse of Dren, and bolts in terror before they can react. To protect the secret, Clive and Elsa smuggle Dren out in a crate and stash her in a quiet storage wing far from prying eyes. Almost immediately, Dren spikes a dangerous fever. Elsa panics. They submerge her in cold water to bring the temperature down. Under the surface, Dren keeps breathing. She's grown auxiliary, amphibious lungs that no one anticipated in the genome mix. That night, Elsa stays close and gifts Dren a Barbie from her own childhood, a relic she once had to hide from her strict mother. Days blur. Dren's frame lengthens, her face and posture read more human, her curiosity more pointed and self-aware. Late one evening, while Clive and Elsa make out on the couch, Dren watches in secret from the shadows, learning the wrong lessons. The next day, the pair present Fred and Ginger to an audience, only to watch the two hybrids suddenly turn on each other violently. The creatures shred one another in a frenzy. Shocked, the team later discovers Ginger has spontaneously flipped to male. Nobody has a clean answer why. Another reminder that spliced biology doesn't always honor the rules you write down. Fearing discovery, Clive and Elsa move Dreen to an old family farmhouse that once belonged to Elsa's mother. On arrival, Dren darts off to forage while they set a makeshift room in the barn, trying to blend caretaking with containment. Inside the house, they find a grim, bare setup. A stained bed, a chair, a bucket, echoes of Elsa's rough upbringing. The farm life frustrates Dren. With her creators gone most days and only a cat for company, she grows restless and defiant. Clive shrugs off the attitude as growing pains. Elsa, unnerved, decides to stay home and supervise more closely. To lift Dren's mood, Elsa offers makeup and jewelry, things her own mother once banned, hoping to win trust with small freedoms. At the vanity, Elsa finds sketch after sketch of Clive, and not a single drawing of herself. Jealousy and hurt flare fast. Dren retreats to the cat for comfort. Elsa snatches it away, insisting boundaries matter. Wanting something doesn't mean you get it. When Clive returns, he finds Dren sulking. He puts on music, dances with her, and feels a line blurring he never meant to cross. Mid-dance, a realization lands. Mannerisms, facial structure. Elsa must have used her own DNA in Dren's design. He confronts Elsa, tempers spike, and Clive storms out, more frightened by what Dren is than angry at who made her that way. Trying to make peace, Elsa brings the cat back to Dren, but the moment curdles. Dren suddenly kills the animal in front of her. Reflexively, Elsa slaps Dren. Dren lunges, steals the barn keys, and tries to flee. Elsa knocks her out to stop the escape. In clinical mode, Elsa straps Dren to a table, removes jewelry and clothes, and surgically cuts off the stinger for safety. When Clive returns, Elsa rushes the stinger to the lab, hoping to harvest useful proteins and salvage something from the chaos. The next day, Clive drops by the farm looking for Elsa, but finds Dren instead, changed, confident, and disturbingly seductive. He resists, then falters. Lines vanish, and he sleeps with Dren, a choice that will follow him everywhere thereafter. During the act, the amputated tail has regrown, a living reminder that Dren's biology adapts faster than their conscience. Elsa walks in, horrified. She runs. Clive chases, and they argue their way back to the city, dredging up wounds and motives. Underneath the shouting sits a hard truth. Elsa wanted a child she could control, an answer to a childhood that offered none. After cooling down, they return to the farm to confront what they've done, only to find Dren lying motionless in her bed. Believing she's dead, they bury the body behind the barn, gather her clothes, and set them ablaze to erase the evidence. While sorting through drawings, Elsa finally finds pictures of herself sketched by Dren, complicating every story in her head. That's when Gavin and Barlow arrive, having traced the secret to this place and ready to lay down corporate consequences. Before a word is settled, the ground shifts. Dren emerges reborn, taller, stronger, and now presenting as male. Rage floods the clearing. Dren kills Barlow and Gavin in brutal flashes, then hurls himself at Clive with animal force. Elsa sprints into the woods. She doesn't make it far. Dren crashes through the trees and drags her down in the dark. He pins Elsa and assaults her, an attack only broken when Clive charges back and drives a jagged branch into Dren's side. The fight turns savage and close. Dren throws Clive like a rag doll. Bones and breath fail as the hillside swallows them both. Scrambling for anything, Elsa grabs a rock and strikes again and again until Dren finally goes still for good. In the quiet that follows, grief and shock settle where adrenaline just burned, and the forest feels unbearably loud. Afterward, Newstead chooses pragmatism. Elsa keeps her job and receives funding to analyze proteins recovered from Dren. As she stands to leave the meeting, one last reveal lingers. Elsa is pregnant, hinting that Dren's legacy isn't finished. Whatever grows next may be the true cost of breaking the rules of nature and of trying to parent the monster you made. Thanks for watching.